Somehow MTV almost got the rights to make Halloween 4, and it's just as ridiculous as you might think it is. We're going to break down the entire plot of MTV's version of Halloween 4, but before we do that, please go ahead and hit the like button on this video and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. So this film would have opened up in Chicago instead of Haddonfield. And in Chicago, Laurie Strode is living in a high-rise apartment. And she's living under a completely different identity, which obviously would end up happening later in the franchise. Having survived Michael Myers' past attack, she tries to move on with her life, but the trauma, of course, is still haunting her. And one night she starts to see strange signs and get strange feelings that Michael Myers may have found her. So maybe she receives an anonymous phone call, or she notices that someone's following her, something to that effect. In a not so shocking twist, of course, Michael Myers did find her, but this time it's just a little bit different. Now, in a very bizarre departure from the Michael Myers that we all know and love, apparently Michael Myers has changed his entire look. This time around, he's rocking a leather jacket like the Fonz, and he's driving a red Ferrari. Now, I'm assuming like other Halloween movies, he killed someone off and stole their outfit, much like he does with the mechanics in every other movie. I'm assuming the red Ferrari belonged to whoever was wearing the jacket as well. But this kind of takes us away from the supernatural force that is Michael Myers and kind of makes him blend into society. Now, of course, the killing of whatever teen he stole all this stuff from gets back to Laurie, and she just gets this feeling that it is Michael Myers and he's returned, and she goes into hiding and completely disappears. This brings us to the MTV reality show. Now, from this point forward, things are going to sound a lot like Halloween Resurrection, and that's because eventually this script would get reworked and become Halloween Resurrection. But there definitely are some differences. This time, instead of being hosted by Busta Rhymes and Dangertainment, it's being hosted by an MTV crew who's looking to exploit Michael for ratings. This setup is very similar to the reality TV shows of the late 90s, early 2000s, where you get a bunch of teens trapped into a house overnight and they've got to explore. Again, a lot like Resurrection. The contestants would have had the typical horror movie tropes like the final girl, who is reserved, skeptical, and likely the one to survive at the end. Then there's the jock who thinks everything's a joke, the completely horror-obsessed nerd who's actually excited about this experience, and I know what you're thinking, that is me and every single person watching this video. Then there's the rebel girl who's tough and independent, the comic relief who doesn't take anything serious whatsoever, and then of course a few expendable characters just for Michael Myers to kill to set things off. Now initially the teens don't believe in the whole Michael Myers hype, so they're just walking around the house exploring and joking. And again, this sounds like Resurrection, but unbeknownst to them, Michael Myers actually has returned to Haddonfield and he's returned to his old home. If you watch the deleted scenes on the 4K copy of Resurrection, you'll see that Michael Myers did steal a red car and he did drive up to the Myers house for the Dangertainment special. So again, that scene from Resurrection was actually ripped right out of this MTV script. Now the murders will start real subtly. A few contestants start to disappear one by one. Again, these are those expendable characters that no one really cares about. Now at first the MTV production team just assumes it's part of the show or that it's some kind of elaborate prank. And of course, the audience watching at home believes the entire thing is all staged. Now, Michael's kills get really brutal and creative, using a lot of the settings that MTV put up around the house. One kill in particular where he uses the camera stand to kill one of the contestants. Another contestant is killed in the basement, however, the screams are kind of drowned out by the loud music from the show. Other contestants try to escape, but of course they find that the doors are locked and they start to realize that this is getting real. Now, if you're wondering where Laurie Strode has been throughout all of this, it turns out she knows exactly what's going on. I'm guessing she caught wind of the broadcast and she's tuned in and sees what's going on. And she knows that Michael has returned to his childhood home and he's going after these contestants on this show. Now, at some point, Laurie, who has gone into hiding this entire time, if you're wondering where she's been, she gets wind of what's going on and she returns home because she realizes that she's the only one who could defeat Michael. Now, according to the script, she makes her way back to Haddonfield, tracking down Michael's old car, which didn't really make any sense to me because she would already know where to find the Myers house. Nevertheless, she's armed and ready for a fight. So this leads us to the final showdown, and likely at this point, all that's left are the survivors, and that's going to be the final girl, whoever that may have been, and Laurie Strode. Laurie confronts Michael one last time, leading to an intense fight inside of the Myers house. And remember, this whole thing is being broadcasted live for the world to watch, and viewers at home are watching in complete horror, but at the same time still completely uncertain if this is even real. Now, Laurie gets the upper hand and Michael is eventually killed, but in true Halloween fashion, Michael's body completely disappears. So like I said earlier, I'm sure a lot of that MTV script sounded a lot like Halloween Resurrection. The only thing is I really can't get past the leather jacket and the red Ferrari. I can't see Michael Myers just in that way. It's so weird. So why was this film never made? So after multiple rewrites, the film was just scrapped and Mustafa Akkad just deemed this movie just too experimental. The whole leather jacket, the red Ferrari, and Laurie living in a skyrise in Chicago, it was just too much of a departure from what fans would have loved from Halloween. So of course we would get the version of Halloween 4 that we got, which is completely perfect, by the way. And eventually that would lead down the Thorn timeline and Halloween H2O, and you know where it goes from there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Could you see Michael Myers running around in jeans and a leather jacket and driving a red car or Ferrari? And would you have liked to see the reality show setup, kind of like The Real World or something like that from the old MTV days? Or are you glad that this whole thing just got scrapped and never happened like I am? Let me know in the comments, and again, please go ahead and hit the like button on this video. It helps so much more than you know, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already.